fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this is likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up the Bills! It's not a house game! It's not a house game!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen. Everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we tripping. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flipping. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
And a good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast podcast, episode 62 this evening. I am your co-host, Beyond 716, along, of course, with Whittle 2K. And tonight, we want to also give thanks to our friends here at the Do Champions Media Network. Be sure to follow Do Champions on X and subscribe to us on YouTube. And make sure to look out for other great podcasts we have on the Do Champions Network, Post Podium Pod, No One to Blame, and how about Third and Manageable? We even have a Sabres podcast now, Whittle, just getting off the ground, so got some good things popping there. Wish the Sabres were the same, but we'll digress. But anyway, so Whittle, big win against Tennessee. You know, something I think we kind of expected, maybe not quite the score, but how you feeling so far this week?
Feeling good. I mean, I thought it was a game that we were supposed to win. With the trend so far this year is the Buffalo's getting started, and they're not really getting off. You're getting started, quickly. Things are. It looks like it's taking the team a little while to get their feet under them or whatever is going on. They definitely are not starting out fast. But ultimately, it was a win. It was something that you had hoped to get at the beginning of the year when you looked at the schedule. And kudos to them. They took care of business. They did what they were supposed to do. Not a win that you look at and pump your chest about, but also, the goal every week is to go 1-0, right?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
You mentioned something interesting, too, about the slow start. So we know in our spaces and, of course, with other Bills fans on Twitter and around, something that is a point of frustration for fans. And I get it. We've set very high expectations for ourselves, really, since the McDermott Bean era. What do you attribute that to? Do you see things schematically? I mean, do the Bills do, quote, a more, quote, vanilla look at times, very generic looks at times? Are they looking to maybe adjust to what they see? Do you think there's anything to that? Or do you see anything schematically is really what I'm getting at that you could see?
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's schematically. I mean, I understand with the defense, they want to. It's a chess match. They want to see what you're coming out in. What your opening script looks like, and then they adjust to it. But On offense, it just I don't know. Maybe it's a chemistry thing. It's definitely not something that we're used to as Bills fans. Usually, the defense is the slow starter. The offense usually comes out and takes care of business.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely different. But at the end of the game, if you have more points on the board than the opponent, then that's what truly matters. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I would hope that they would get off to a faster start going forward. You hope
Mm-hmm.
that there's more continuity in the play calling, not only in the play calling, but um, in the play of in the execution of the players. You want to see,
Mm-hmm.
um, chemistry built up. You want to see those guys play a lot better than what they've been playing so far. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
No, absolutely. And there's no telling what on that first drive, right? Of course, Amari Cooper's first opportunity drops a first down. You're like, oh boy, here we
Yeah,
go. But of course, we'll talk about him later. He redeemed himself quite well. But there's no telling if Amari comes down with that catch, maybe that first drive we do execute and go down the field. So like you said, it's really execution too. So I hope
yeah,
it's something that as the opponents get bigger, we've talked about it many times, the Detroits, the Kansas Cities, the San Franciscos, we're going to need some better starts early in the game. We can't always depend on, okay, we're going to adjust. We're going to figure this out because we could be down double digits and the teams like that with those defenses, especially like the Chiefs, we're going to have a heck of a time coming back. So, but
right.
I do hope, with the new pieces we have in place with Cooper, he's going to get more and more comfortable. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that old fast start Bills team coming up, maybe as soon as this Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. This Sunday, we go cross country to Seattle, so that's going to be a little adjustment
Mm-hmm.
for the guys. I feel like it's always more difficult when West Coast teams coming east versus
Mm-hmm.
East Coast teams going west because it's not like you're playing earlier. You're playing later actually than what you're used to. So a 1 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
game out there is actually like
Well,
four. Well,
Will, I could tell you being a West Coaster now for 17 years, when I travel back to your neck of the woods in Jersey and see family, man, I just can't. And I'm not an athlete, but I can't adjust for 4 or 5 days. It's like the sleep
yeah,
patterns are off a little bit. But when I come west, right, you're feeling tired. You get home about 6 o'clock off the plane. Then you're tired because you gain hours. You get to sleep. You feel a little bit more in rhythm the next day. It's hard to describe, but I agree with you. It's definitely because they don't forget they're starting at 10 a.m. on their body clock on Sundays. If it's a normal game, that's really early for any athlete because as you know, there's preparations and things they got to go through to get ready.
yeah,
It's not just, hey, roll out, roll out of bed in the hotel, go down, do a few stretches, and you're ready. There's a long process behind the scenes that we don't see that these guys go through. So that,
absolutely.
yep, 100%. So yeah, it's a rare place
Uh,
that. So any what kind of initial thoughts did you have from the Tennessee game in terms of maybe individual performances or anything that you saw that really stood out to you?
um, I mean, it, it was just it was a game that was a little frustrating at first because again, like it's a slow start. But the things that stuck out to me was the Bills' ability to really take away anything down the field. Like there were no real deep passes. There was none of that. They didn't allow um chunk plays. They did have a few plays that ended up being more than 10 yards in the first half. Well, throughout the game, but mostly in the first half. Um it was them kind of making a play and then somebody making a reception and then
Hmm.
being able having some space and being able to run for a few more yards. Um So some of the things that stood out to me, Josh Allen, definitely this is, 2 weeks in a row now where he's playing a whole lot better. He had a really good game I believe he had a really good game against the Jets last week, and then week 6 on Monday night, and then followed up with this Tennessee game. Tennessee came into that game with a top ranked defense, especially against the pass. Now, granted, they were without two of their starters at the cornerback position. No Awuzie and no L'Jarius Sneed, so that definitely helped us
Yes.
immensely. Um, but I thought that they did an excellent job. I thought Tennessee still did an excellent job defensively against the run. We end up running the ball 20 times for like 74 yards,
Mhm.
for a 3.7 yards per carry average, which is under what we normally do in the run game. And I mean, and some of that is attributed to James Cook still not being 100%,
Yep.
trying to come back from that turf toe. And then, well, I mean, let's just be honest. Those guys, Tennessee, they have a really good defensive roster. I think their tackles I think their defensive ends did a good job of crashing down to take away cutback lanes and really pursue hard against the run. I could tell that they came out determined not to lose at the hands or the feet of James Cook, Ray Davis, and Todd Johnson. Um, Another thing that I noticed was Josh Allen still seems to be skittish about taking off and running himself for first downs. Something that I've been noticing, and I've been trying kind of keeping an eye on. And man, like Terrell Bernard is just real. He's really really good at football, man.
Oh,
He's
yes.
so very good at football. Uh, yeah, his ability to just kind of bust up plays, man. It's pretty special.
Mhm.
Another thing I noticed is it's difficult for him to stay on the field. 6 feet tall, 220 pounds, 220, 225 at the most. I don't think he's 225 at all. I think he's like probably weighed in at 220 on picture day, and then now he's probably playing lighter than that. But
Yeah.
he's a heck of a football player. I would just love
Amazing.
him to maybe put on a few more pounds and be able to stay on the field. Damar Hamlin with another interception. He currently leads the team. Rousseau finally got back in the sack category with a half a sack. Him and Dewan Smoot combined for one. Daquan Jones. I think our defense had a really, really solid game, especially the defensive
Mhm.
line. Um, AJ Epinesa, just
Mhm.
wow, wow.
Yes.
He had a really, really, really good game. Uh, got that's 2 games in a row that he played pretty well. And then, I don't want to take anything away from our offense either. Like the offense, they balled out, man. Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns, 300 first 300-yard game finally, and he did it off of 21 completions, which is it was pretty good,
Mhm.
almost 10 yards per attempt. Um, so you gotta love that. The receiving yards. I mean, people say everybody eats his dead because we got a number one wide receiver in Amari Cooper, but I'm looking at this stat sheet and I see Khalil Shakir 7 catches, 65 yards. Um, Amari Cooper 4 catches, 66 yards. Dalton Kincaid 3 catches, 52 yards. Keon Coleman 4 catches, 125 yards. The first 100 yard for his first 100 yard game of his career.
Mhm. That's
Um,
great.
Dawson Knox had a catch. Todd Johnson had a catch. Um, Ray Davis had a catch. So I don't think everybody eats his dead. I just think that it's still everybody eats. Um, maybe it's just not the way that maybe it's not the way that you expected. But
Yep.
definitely, everybody is still eating. The ball is being distributed around. But Amari represents a guy that in those gotta have it downs. He's he's gonna win. Um,
Hmm.
on the touchdown, he caught. They put him in the slot, and he needed to get inside. He got inside. Josh delivers a great football, and
Hmm.
the rest was history. So,
Yep.
um, one other player I want to mention that doesn't get not a lot of fanfare, and he really should. Brandon Codrington, man. I mean,
Yes.
5 punt returns, 56 yards. Um, he had one kickoff return. He returned that for 27 yards. I mean, he is, he's putting us in position, man. Like
Yep.
he's part of the juice that gets this team going. So definitely shout out to him, man. I just thought it was a total team effort. Bash didn't miss a kick. Uh what else? What else we got? Christian Benford, another solid game. He got a pass
Hmm.
breakup that ended up um resulting in an interception for DeMar Hamlin.
Demar.
And yeah, just I mean, these guys just they just they did what they were supposed to do against a bad team. Dorian Williams continues to find the football, leads the team in tackles yet again.
Hmm.
Even though he left the game because of an injury, Terrell Bernard, right there behind him in tackles. Taylor Rapp with another strong game. Um, just yeah, guys they just played well, man. They really played well. I thought AJ Epinesa was a stud on the defensive line. Um, just consistently winning. Consistently being a nuisance over the last 2 weeks to the quarterback. So yeah, man, you got to give these guys credit, man. They did what they were supposed to do against a bad team.
Yep.
Um, we gotta. What did he say? Everybody eats, but Amari feasts. No, Amari
Yeah.
didn't feast. That was Keon Coleman. Keon
Yeah.
Coleman had 125 yards. So yeah, man.
And Dave is also having 2021 Rams ideas right here with this one. Oh wait, it's not working. There we go. When do Miles Garrett and Cooper Cup arrive in Buffalo?
Never.
From your lips to the football god's ears, Dave. I hope so, but I just don't expect that with our cap situation.
Yeah,
I don't
I
even.
wouldn't want. I mean, at this point, I don't think we need a Cooper Cup. Um, Dwayne Carter, real quick, on that 4th and 2. Dwayne Carter. I
Yeah.
mean, they stacked the box. Dwayne Carter just kind of busted through and busted that play up. That was huge.
Yeah.
It was like right in midfield. We had great position. After
Hmm.
that, to put ourselves in
Yeah.
position to score. So, yeah,
I
just
was
I mean,
shocked at that play call shocked me. That play call shocked me, to be honest. I fourth and
yeah,
two. I didn't mind going
you
for
got
it
to
then,
kick
but I
the
was like,
field goal there. You got to try the
yeah,
field goal.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you need the points. Like it's Tennessee, man. Like but
Hmm.
whatever. I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll
Oh
take
yeah,
it any way we can get it, man.
absolutely.
Um,
The one thing I was thinking about in the second half too, Whittle, and it felt like the Bills were accustomed to a little bit more than we've seen even all season. I know we were great against Jacksonville, but I just felt like the passing game was more that aggressive down the field, right? I don't know if you felt it too, but maybe we got a little glimpse into what we'll see once all the pieces. And again, we're evolving as a team, even on defense, right? I'm even starting to feel more confident. As much as we want Matt Milano to come back, I feel a little more confident, more comfortable in who we have right now. If Matt Milano's not able to return to form this year, because we can't, as much as we want Milano, oh, he's going to step right in, he's going to be great. He's going to be out almost 2 years now. That's a lot to ask. I mean, I know it's not a one-to-one comparison, but we saw what happened to Deshaun Watson when he was out of football for almost 2 years, right? Sometimes it's just hard to ask Milano just to immediately come on the field and start feasting. But just in case he can't, I feel more comfortable with Dorian and and of course our guy Terrell Bernard. But yeah, that was one thing I took away from it. We're starting to see all of it kind of come into place as the season progresses.
Yeah, I mean the difference between the Deshaun Watson and the Matt Milano. I mean, outside of some extracurricular off the field
Yeah.
activities, Matt Milano, I think is I think when healthy, he's a top three, top five linebacker in this league.
Hmm.
Um, his playmaking ability, his ability to diagnose, recognize, and react to what he sees, to what's happening in front of him from the offense. I mean, yeah, listen, the game we get Taron Johnson, Matt Milano, and Terrell Bernard on the field at the same time. Uh man, I mean that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
They're
that's
targeting
happening.
they're targeting a late November, early December return for Matt.
Mhm.
I would love to see it, man. I mean, if we can get Matt Milano back, that is going to
And Vaughn,
that's
don't
gonna
forget.
yeah, that's
Right?
gonna
Yeah.
open up that's
Mhm.
gonna open up this defense. I mean, the defense is gonna be so much more lethal than it is right now. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this defense is not playing. Defense is not playing up to the standard that's been set over the last few years. We are not a top 10 defense, which is something that we've been the majority of the years. But I do feel like even though we aren't a top 10 defense in most stats, most statistical categories, I do feel confident that this defense is good enough to win, good enough to beat, to get us where we want to go, which
Mhm.
is a Super Bowl appearance in New Orleans. So ultimately, so far, I would say the trade for Amari Cooper has been a successful one. I believe I heard that, after Amari drove over from Cleveland
Mhm.
to Buffalo, the rest of the week, after practice, he stayed, hours after practice was already over, working with the wide receiver coach to learn and absorb as much of the playbook as possible. Um, so you got to respect that. And listen, Brandon Bean strikes again, man. I mean, he just has a way and a knack of finding these guys that fit the culture. Not only are they
Mhm.
talented players, but he finds talent that's able to fit the culture of what
Yep.
we're trying to do um,
Yep.
as a team. So yeah,
And
man.
Amari could have a big effect on Keon Coleman, right? Just what you said.
Yeah,
Amari's not a guy that says a lot, but he does a lot by example. He leads by example. And if Keon, a 20-year-old rookie, we want him to be a guy like Amari Cooper someday, and I think he can be. What a guy to bring into that locker room to give him that guy who's 10 years older, is statesman, elder statesman, to say, hey, I should be emulating some of his work ethic and things he's doing behind the scenes. I think that's another layer to this that we may not see as fans, but might be felt for years to come.
yeah, because Keon. I mean, Keon Coleman's an elite level athlete. Like you don't get
Mhm.
full ride scholarships to Michigan State and to Florida State to play
No.
football just because you're a good football, just because you're decent. No,
Hmm.
he's like the best basketball player. He was the best basketball player in his state the year he graduated. Like he's one of the best football players. Coming out of Louisiana. I mean, he was,
Yep.
you know,
When Tom
yeah, he
Izzo
was on
calls
the
for you to play
cover of sport.
basketball,
Like when
yeah.
yeah, when you're on the cover, when you got Sports Illustrated covers, um, like that means something. So
Oh yeah.
he,
Yep.
he's a heck of an athlete, and the pedigree is something that you have to respect, right?
Hmm.
Amari Cooper went to Alabama. He was picked number 4 overall in the draft at wide receiver. So
Hmm.
this is like he is one of the best, of his out of his peers. He's probably the best one out of his peers to when along the line, all along his football career.
Hmm.
And he's so humble. He's so
Yes.
humble. You don't see you know you don't see the brash nonsense on the sideline. And I mean, it's nonsense now because,
Hmm.
14's not there anymore, but
Hmm.
whatever. We got 18 now, right?
Yep.
So we'll,
Well,
we'll
listen,
take it.
there's nothing wrong with some brash on the sideline. Sometimes your team needs that, right? Sometimes you need
Right.
that fire guy. I mean, just to give you a baseball analogy, I think that's why it works well with Soto in New York with Judge. Judge is a very quiet guy. Soto is more, he's fired up. I think he energizes and galvanizes the rest of the players. So you do need those guys in that. You don't, right? You want to have, and I do think the Bills have those guys. I think Dawkins is maybe one of those guys, and there's some others, but it's like you said, there's a certain balance you got to strike there. Now, I'd use it when needed for sure.
Right. Right. Um, so they take care of business. And I do want to point something out. I do think the defense deserves a little bit of credit because they didn't find out they were playing against Mason Rudolph until Saturday,
Yep.
right? That's when that news was announced. So you spent all week studying, preparing for Will Levis, and at the last second they tell you, well, no, that guy can't go. We're gonna go with so we're gonna go with Mason Rudolph. And it's not like we're not familiar with him. We saw him last year in the playoffs against the Steelers. So,
Yep.
um,
He's
but they're
yep.
different quarterbacks, right? The
Oh yeah.
athleticism, the playmaking ability, the style of play, very
Hmm.
different. But even still, we were able to turn him over. I know we got an interception, I believe. Let me check. I'm sorry, it's not. Hold on. I believe we also get a fumble in this game? Let me see.
Yes, but we didn't do anything with that
Yes,
though. We went three and
right.
out immediately. Hmm.
But still, we were able to turn those guys over twice. So,
Yep.
you know, that's a beautiful thing. We were able to do that.
Hmm.
Our third down percentage was not good, but theirs
No.
was bad too.
Yep.
6 to
That's
16,
something. That's something I
thirty-seven
want to see.
percent
That's something I'd like to see us get back to. Little. I feel like that was one of the staples of the Bills from 19 to 23 was our third down
Mm,
percentage was always towards the top. And especially
right,
with our improved
right.
running game, we want to see us getting those third and fours, third and threes, where either Josh could run for it or, quick pass, quick strikes to whoever, whichever
Yeah.
option is available. So yeah, I'd like to see us really stay at those third and 12s, third and 13s and all that. But again, I do think as this offense evolved, and that's what I feel like the next three games are. It's like I feel like the next three games are get the job done. We're not going to get a lot of fanfare across the country. I don't care, right? We got at Seattle, of course. We're going to talk about this game soon, but then Miami at home, at Indianapolis. These are games we should win, right? Let's just be honest already, right? But I don't care how they do it or what. But I look at the next three games as, hey, all the units on this team, we got to evolve and get ready for that showdown against Kansas City. This is our get right time, as Josh always likes to talk about stacking wins, right? This is the highest part of the stack. These are golden opportunities that we cannot afford to miss on, that we have done several times in the past under McDermott, at Jacksonville, last year against Denver, at the Jets with Zach Wilson. We can't afford those kind of slip ups right now. Not the way this conference is cooking right now.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, I also think I'm glad you mentioned I'm glad you mentioned Kansas City because we can now segue into some of the deals that have been made recently. You know,
Hmm.
um, it's funny. It's funny. So Kansas City makes the trade for DeAndre Hopkins, a fifth round pick that conditional a fifth round pick that can turn into a fourth round pick if Kansas City makes to the Super Bowl and DeAndre Hopkins plays, then they will have to give The Titans a 4th-round pick. I honestly think the Titans, um, whatever. Like you that's whatever. You gave that away. I mean that was very cheap. But Kansas City is eating a bunch of his salary. I think they're paying like half of his salary this year, and
Hmm.
Seattle, to Tennessee's eating the rest. But you notice the Ravens have looked excellent for the last month, and Kansas City makes 0 moves. Buffalo trades for Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper and Josh Allen look great. Josh throws for 300 yards. Defense pitches a shutout in the second half. What do you know? 2 days later, Brett Veach is making a deal to bring some wide receiver help into Kansas City. So uh,
Hmm.
I know Kansas City fans like to think that they don't view Buffalo as a threat. Your GM absolutely does, though, because that's why they went out and made that move. They saw what
Yep.
Buffalo did, and they saw how it looks, and they said, we got to keep pace. So, um, it is what it is. Like, words, you can say whatever you want, but your actions really tell the story, and the actions tell me. They're not worried about that running game in Kansas City. I mean, in Baltimore, they're worried about Josh Allen. So,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and hey, rightly so, because he's a heck of a player.
Yep.
But how do you feel like does that kind of resonate with you with what Kansas, like the moves that they're making? Like, does it feel like it's a response to Buffalo, or does it feel like it's just a general response to what's going on with the team?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they know that. I think they recognize that without Rishi Rice, they're gonna need another option out there. Mahomes has had his struggles. I mean, it's pretty amazing. If I didn't tell you what the record of the Chiefs were, and if I brought up Mahomes' stats, probably like 3-4, right? Four, maybe
Yeah,
at best 4-3, and yet they're undefeated. And that to the credit of their amazing defense. I mean, and they just find ways to win, which I got to give them credit for. They do. It's just incredible. So yeah, I do agree. I do think they saw what the Bills did with Amari Cooper. I do think they're even thinking about maybe what other teams in the AFC might do. They look at the players, playmakers Houston has, and some other teams. Maybe what if Pittsburgh adds another a wide receiver, right? I mean, they could be an interesting team too. So they're looking at the landscape, but they're definitely looking at Buffalo. They're always looking at Josh Allen. Let's not let, let's let's not get anything twisted here, as they say, right? There is no
right.
question. Okay, they've beaten us in the playoffs the last 2 times, but by the absolute thinnest of margins, right? And for various reasons. It wasn't like they dominated us and beat us by 28. I mean, the first time, the 2020, that was a long time ago. That's ancient history now, it feels like in football, right? So I look at the last few games. They know Buffalo's there. And they now is this gonna have a major impact on the Chiefs? I think it's gonna help. I'm not crazy about them getting another guy like DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we know it. Everybody says, well, he fell off. He fell off. Well, let's look at his quarterback play too, right? We're similar to what we said about Amari Cooper. You're going to see DeAndre Hopkins now with Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid as the play caller. That I'll reserve my judgment to say. I know some people say, "Oh, D Hop is washed." If we got D Hop, we already know what our fan base will be doing today. Most of us will be pretty
I,
excited, right? So, I
I
mean,
think our fan base is. I think our fan base is. I think the fan base looked at the DeAndre Hopkins deal, and like I don't think most Bills fans care. But I think we're happy we got
well,
Cooper. To
Well,
be
if we didn't get
honest,
Cooper, I'd say if we didn't get Cooper and we just
if
got
we didn't get
Hopkins,
Cooper, right,
yeah,
right, that
yeah,
would be different. I
that's what
think
I
they'd be
meant to say that.
pitching a fit for sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
But we
So,
got him, so who cares, man? Like whatever.
oh yeah. Now, second question: do you envision another move from Brandon Bean? I know we're really tight against the cap. I'm not envisioning. Like our friend Dave said, go swinging for the home runs here with Cooper Kupp or Miles Garrett. But do you see any kind of under the radar, typical B move at the deadline? For a guy for
I mean,
seventh or any
I
depth
could
pieces.
see it. I could
Hmm.
see it. I could see them going after a safety. Andre Cisco with Jacksonville makes a lot of sense at his
Yes.
number, his age, and his abilities. Um, Tennessee seems to be selling. Quandre Diggs is another guy who you could see let them go after. Maybe bring in a linebacker. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. Those are just a couple of things that I think would be instantaneous helps to this franchise. But honestly, I don't know. I did see a tweet earlier though that said that there were a healthy resupply of Micah Hyde jerseys in the Buffalo Bills store at Highmark. So
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. So
Are
we'll
they
see.
clearing inventory or getting ready for a new arrival? That's the question, right, Will? So,
You know, it it's right about that time. Like if I was a veteran who really didn't care to play the whole season, and let's be honest, we had a 3.5 game lead in the division. Like we're going to the playoffs. We would at least be the fourth seed at this point.
hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean that doesn't worry me. It really doesn't worry me. Like
You
it
think we
doesn't
have
worry me.
enough? You think we got enough at D tackle, Whittle, to handle?
When we're healthy,
Yeah,
it
when we're
wasn't the
healthy.
defensive tackles though. That wasn't the
Yeah.
problem. Honestly, the problem really was Balen Spector and Dorian Williams just kind of being slow and not reacting to what was happening in front of them fast enough and
Hmm.
consistently getting washed out. Now, obviously, the tackles could have been better, but it is what it is, man. I
Well, do you think? Do
I,
you
I
think
don't
we
I
need
don't think that.
another? How about a run stuffing linebacker potentially, or someone that could
Oh
replace
no.
Spector? Or you think that's just too much at this point? I think we're pretty set.
I mean, Spector like, but I look at the league and say, who do you go get? You know,
True. True.
who do you go get? Um,
Yeah.
I was looking at the Giants, because they constantly get players from us, right? So
Hmm.
I'm looking at. Let me go pull up their depth chart. So I like their linebackers.
Yeah,
Obviously not
they're doing nice.
not the pass rushers, but let's see
Yeah.
who we got. Yeah, I mean they're not going to trade Michael McFadden. They're definitely not trading Bobby Okereke.
No.
Yeah, I mean if it's not one of those guys, then what's the point? Maybe Maybe they trade Anthony Johnson Jr. at safety. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that there's anything that we can. I don't think there's anything that we can go and get right now. From
Hmm.
the teams that are just out of it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So when you look, you say, okay, let's look around the league and who's like actually out of it. So you can say, all right, the New Orleans Saints, right? They're probably out
Yeah.
of it. The
Oh,
Arizona
they're done.
Cardinals, they're out of it.
Well,
Um,
Arizona's only a game. What's weird is Whittle. Arizona's only a game out of first right now. Now, whether they
yeah, that's
think
true.
they're in it is now they got the Dolphins this week in Miami. So if they win, they're 4-4. That it could come down to just that, right? If they may be more of a deadline mover. We got to see what
Hmm.
they look like in about 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, what if
Fair.
Seattle? If Seattle loses, I mean, listen, Seattle. If we beat Seattle and Arizona wins, Arizona's in first place. So,
Wow.
but you're right. Yeah, crazy, right? That division is really
Yeah.
been turned on its head, and we just don't know
You know,
what's
there
up with
is
San
one.
Francisco.
I'm sorry. There is one guy. Um, there's one guy from the Raiders.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind, and that's Divine Diablo. He's a weak side linebacker. Um, excellent, excellent, excellent going after the football. But bro, I don't want Honey Badger.
Mhm.
He's old. He's like
No, you're not
32
feeling
years old.
even for the
No,
experience
he's
that
old.
that no,
No, he's a
he's
box guy. He's not a guy that can function in space anymore.
mm.
Nah, it's it. It's
It's an interesting
I'm
name
off
though.
that.
Yeah, interesting idea though. I mean, just in terms of you know pedigree and name recognition and stuff like that. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I mean, 32. He's he's not what he used to be, and this is a very 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 new system. I would take Micah Hyde because you get Micah Hyde in there, he can play in a week. He can start, and you're
Hmm.
comfortable. If you need to.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I would talk to the Raiders, man. Maybe see if they're, if they're willing to part ways with. Are you talking? Oh, Q Tuck. You talking about JOK? Yeah, they. I don't know if they. I don't know if the Browns are willing to give him up. Like they're gonna
hmm
keep him. They're probably gonna keep Miles Garrett as well. I don't see them. I don't see those guys. I don't see them letting go of any of those guys. But I would love to get like a Divine Diablo, a Robert Spillane. Um, they got Trey Taylor over there, man, Air Force guy.
that's your guy
But
from the Jets. One of your draft crushes right there. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, he's a rookie, man. I don't think they'd be willing to part ways with him. But hey, that's a
Yeah,
guy I liked coming out. So,
yeah.
but
I
no,
mean,
yeah,
but
I'm
so
we're
so
cooked.
are you are
We're
you
pretty much
saying
cooked on the
you're
trades.
s- you're saying no? How do you feel about the current safety room? I mean, do you envision anything from a Mike Edwards or Cole Bishop going forward? Do you think that maybe in three to four
I
weeks?
don't think Cole Bishop plays anymore this
No,
year.
no.
Nah, and he was bad against the Texans, man. He was
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
Um, let's see. So Hamlin hasn't done anything to lose his job. Like Hamlin just kind of does what he needs to do. He's in the right spots. He makes plays.
Hmm.
Everything you ask him to do, he's kind of doing. So, um, yeah, that I don't know. Why do they have a John Jenkins in here and not? That's weird. That is very weird. Where's Christian Wilkins at on this
On the depth chart?
on
Oh yeah,
on
you're
the
right. I
depth
don't.
chart? Like they don't
I
have
don't
Christian Wilkins.
see Wilkins is on IR. Apparently,
No. Is he?
according to our
They
lands, he
should
is.
have
Yeah.
him.
Did he just
Oh.
come back?
Oh,
Maybe.
he is. He is. Oh, okay. 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 He is on IR. Oh, Marcus Apps. That's the other guy I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't think we make another move. I wouldn't mind another move, but I just don't think we do. I don't think we
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Barring any unforeseen injuries or anything like that, I don't know if I see
Right.
a. That's the biggest factor. So I think it's going to come
Now
down to the
now
deadline now at
yeah,
this
now if
point.
we lose two guys, yeah, for sure. Like you could definitely see them go out and make a trade for somebody that they can bring in that's going to come in and play. But I
Hmm.
think right now I don't see it, man. But let's talk about the Seattle game, man.
Okay.
4:05, which is actually a 1 o'clock start over here. But it's a one
Oh,
o'clock start over there, so it'll be 4:05
over here.
over
Yep.
here. So
That's right.
um yeah, so it's a 1 o'clock start where you are.
Yep.
Uh, how do you feel about this game?
Listen, Seattle is a team that it's funny every time I watch them. I mean, I would love to have this guy in the Bills. I'd like to have this player on the Bills. I'd like to have this player on the Bills. Right? They have a lot of talent in this roster. In terms of just playmakers, some guys on defense, and Geno Smith is playing very solid in my opinion. I mean, he's not at the elite level of the quarterback tree, but he's certainly got that's won his fair share of games. He's really turned his career around. But I feel, I'm a little nervous about Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet and what they could do. Hopefully, our run defense continues the positive trend we saw from last week. Obviously, DK Metcalf being out, but potentially looks like he is going to be out. That's a big loss for Seattle. That will really help us in that respect. So, and like you said, going west, that's a tough building to play in. They won last week in Atlanta. They had a big win, so they got off their 3-game losing streak. So they're going to come home with a little juice, and Buffalo's going to bring the juice. I mean, we're a team that teams look at. Josh Allen. We got Tom Brady in the house for this game, national game for Fox. So that's going to add a little bit to the spice level of this game in that respect. So, but yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be a good challenge.
right. So offensively, Seattle, 16th in DVOA,
Mm-hmm.
8th in yards per game, number one in passing, number one in passing, 27th in rushing, 8th in scoring, 10th in red zone in touchdown red zone percentage, and um, they have a 38.4% third down conversion percentage on defense. They are 10th, ranked 10th in DVOA, 21st in yards per game, 14th in passing defense, 28th in rush defense, 19th in scoring defense, tied for 13th in red zone defense, and the defense gives up they get stops on 36.8%. They only give up first down to 36.8% of the time on third down. So overall, they're a good team. Um, obviously a heavy passing team. And with them losing out on DK Metcalf, that is going to hurt them a bit. But they still have some pretty solid. They still have some pretty solid weapons on that team. Yeah, obviously
Mm-hmm.
you got JSN. Um, what's the other guy's name?
Lockett, Tyler
Lockett. Yeah,
Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Metcalf is out, but they still have some other guys that could step in. Laviska Chenault is there. Um, I imagine that they'll bring some guys up from the practice squad. So you have who do
Mm-hmm.
you have at wide receiver on the practice squad? They got
I think
Miles
one guy. No, no.
Boykins.
Yep. I think they have a guy named Jake Bobo from UCLA. I remember he's a big 6 foot
Yeah,
4 target. He had a
yeah,
pretty
yep,
decent game
yep.
last
Big,
week. He
big.
got some look.
Yeah, he's a big kid. Big, big, big kid.
Mm-hmm.
Not worried about him, no. Like, that's
No, but yeah, definitely
yeah,
Metcalf
we
does
should be
change the
fine.
dynamic.
Yeah,
But yeah, absolutely.
right. So the offensive line I like. Um Connor Williams, the Miami center, is there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
Charles Cross was a first round pick a few years ago. They drafted Christian Haynes from I think he was a Boston College kid. They
Mm-hmm.
drafted the tackle out of Utah, which I liked as well. Tight end, Noah Fant. Um, yeah, we mentioned the other weapons on offense, and then a quarterback, man, Geno Smith. Like he's had a nice resurgence of his career. Sam Howell's
Mm-hmm.
back there as the backup. On defense, now this is where things get interesting, right? Um, I don't mean to laugh, but so Tariq Woolen is out, right? So they've
Big
got
loss. Yeah.
yep, Julian Love and Kobe Bryant at the safeties. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good pair. Um, Trey Brown and Tariq Woolen are out on IR, so you're going to see
Mhm.
some Devin Witherspoon. You're going to see some Nehemiah Pritchett. Yeah. So at linebacker, this is where they just traded for a guy we just played against on Sunday, Ernest Jones, the fourth. He
Mhm.
came over from Tennessee, so we get to play against this guy 2 weeks in a row, which is kind of wild. Um, Terrell Dotson is
That's
there.
a yeah, it's a
Draymond
former
Jones,
Buffalo Bill. Yep.
former
Yep.
Buffalo Bill, man.
Yep.
Derek Hall, a standout pass rusher from Auburn.
Mhm.
Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle out of Texas. Leonard Williams, who's a former Giant. Um, Jonathan Hankins, Boye Mafe. Like these are, if you know, you know. If you know
Mhm.
these guys, you know, If you know that these guys are solid players.
Yep.
Jonathan Hankins definitely solid. Mike Morris, I think, was a Michigan product from
I
nine.
bel
Yep, defensive end out of
y-
Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm
No,
looking at this roster, looking at this is where they have a really good. Where they're really good is on the coaching staff, right? Mike McDonald. Oh, Christian Haynes is from UConn. Okay, my bad. I must have got him mixed up with Christian Mahogany. I think his name
yeah. But
was
you're in
the
New
guy from Boston College. But yeah,
you're in New England, so you're in the right spot.
Christian Haynes. Yeah. I remember that. I remember the name.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Appreciate that, Q. Thank
Yes,
you.
thanks, Q.
Um, but yeah, like they've got tons of talent on the roster. Obviously those injuries are gonna help us, but they also have a heck of a coach, man. Mike McDonald came over from the Ravens and put together a
Yep.
great defense last year. Like I said, a DVOA to 10th. So you expect that defense to play well. They've got, even though Tariq Woolen's out, they have guys back there that are still going to be able to play. I mean, it's a really good safety group. Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois is a really good young corner, good looking young corner. Linebackers for whatever you think of Terrell Dotson and Ernest Jones, those guys will be there. And again, like I mentioned some of those guys on that defensive line. I expect those guys to play well. So Mike McDaniel's done a great job of coaching them up. So we're gonna
Yep.
have our hands full, man. This is not an easy game, but I think it's a winnable game. Seattle's a tough place to play. The
Mhm.
crowd's gonna be crazy. But
Yep.
man, we got Josh Allen.
Yep. It's gonna
We
be
got Josh
fifth.
Allen.
It's gonna be a typical Seattle day there, Whittle. And I spent a lot of time in Seattle over the years. 55 degrees and rainy. Not a heavy rain or heavy wind, but just one of those just dreary vintage Seattle days once you get into October, basically to April. So
Yeah.
that's or even May. So just from a weather point of view, I don't think it's going to be a massive factor, but just something to keep an eye on it in terms of that. So, like you said, tough place to play. It's one of the longer flights for any of these teams all year. Seattle's a long flight. It's LA's like 5, Seattle's like 6.5. It's definitely a longer place to go. Not a common team that we play. Like you said, well coached. I feel like their defense has been a little inconsistent this year at times, right? They've had really good moments, but Detroit carved them up. But then again, who doesn't? Who hasn't Detroit carved up at this point so far this year? So San Francisco got them for 36 points, and so we'll just see. I feel like they've been inconsistent, but then they go into Atlanta and win by 20, 34-14. So
Right.
what Seattle team are we
Right.
going to get? Well, we'll just have to see how it goes this Sunday. So.
Um, Score prediction.
Score prediction. This is one that I've been calling for close games a lot lately, and a lot of it has to do with I still think we're finding our footing in certain respects on this team, what we spoke about earlier. And with getting Amari in just another week, I think this is going to be a tough game, right? again, going out west, the quality opponent, the crowd noise, things like that. I'm going 27-24 Buffalo. I think Josh pulls this thing out late. Could be one of those games where it's a little bit nerve-wracking for a bit. Seattle's going to put up some numbers. I think the key is keep Kenneth Walker at bay. Let Geno pass 40 more times. Maybe we could pick him off a time or two, flip that field, and we could get it done. I expect to see Josh. Wait, is this true right here? By the way, is Leslie Frazier out in Seattle as well? Is that
Oh, I
is
don't
that?
know.
I didn't even know that. Good call, Q. I did not know that.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean it's a
Man,
whole
his
reunion.
defense stinks.
Yeah, and an old Bills
His
legend,
defense sucks.
an
Let's
old
see what we got. No, he's not. I mean, if he's out there as like a consultant because head
maybe,
coach
yeah.
is Mike McDonald, OC Ryan Grubb, and DC is Aiden Durde, whoever that
Yep.
is.
You know what? I like what Dave said here. Tyler Bass redemption story. You know what? I want to be here for it. Listen, as much as we want a new kicker, we don't want a new kicker, if that makes sense, right? We don't want that dead cap. Nobody wants a dead cap for a kicker. That's ridiculous, right? So let's hope the encouragement that Tyler Bass got last week is similar to Trey Turner on the Phillies when he got that. I don't know if you heard about that, Whittle, but the Philly fans did that for Trey Turner. They decided, you know what, instead of, Philly fans are, right? They boo Santa Claus, right? But they decided we're going to cheer on Trey Turner. And from that point on, he was amazing the rest of the year. So let's hope maybe that we could see a Tyler Bass redemption. How about a game-winning field goal from Tyler Bass to win the game, to jumpstart the rest of his season, get him back to the Tyler Bass? How does that sound, Whittle? 27-24.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah, I got
thanks, Q, assistant coach for Leslie Frazier. So what do you have for
okay.
your score?
23-21 Seattle. I think
Ooh.
yeah, I think Tyler Bass misses a game winner and we
Oh,
end up making that change. Yeah.
Whittle, you're killing me.
Yeah,
I'm calling
I
a
know.
Tyler Bass winner. Whittle's calling a Tyler Bass miss.
Yeah, I hope I'm
Oh
wrong.
man.
I hope I'm wrong because I want to go into I want to go into that uh Kansas City game at 8-2, man, and deliver Kansas City a loss. I think they may pick. Hopefully, they'll pick one up um over the next
Mm-hmm.
few weeks. It'd be nice to be able to get that tiebreaker over them, but I don't know, man. I don't. I hope I'm wrong. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but
Yeah, no, it's gonna be, this
Seattle's
was
a tough,
tough.
tough place to play. Seattle's a
It
tough place
is.
to play.
Yep.
It's still a cross country flight, and they are a very, very well coached defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
On the defensive side of the football, I don't know.
And I'll say
I
this
don't
for
know.
all you prop bettors out there. I would take, if I could take Josh to throw a pick, I hate to say it, sooner or later he's gonna, right? I mean, what Josh is doing right now with the 0 picks is incredible. Like that's not sustainable. I wish it was. I mean, we were hoping for a 20% reduction in interceptions this year, maybe 25, and we've had 100% reduction so far. But
Right, right.
we all know that's not feasible, I would say. But what you mentioned earlier in our podcast, Whittle, about the slow starts, we need to change that this week. This is the kind of game where we got to get ahead. We got to get Geno Smith into more throwing the ball more, into playing to our strengths with our pass rush, where we can maybe force him, maybe, with our disguises, the way we do with our safeties, maybe we just get that one or two play where we could flip the field and we could turn this into
This
what is
podcast is
going on right
falling
here?
apart.
What's going on here, Dave? We're doing just fine. We got Tyler
Hey man, I'm
Bass
going with
doing
my
Tyler
gut,
Bass
bro.
impressions.
Going with my gut, man.
Hey,
I apologize. I'm going with my gut, man.
hey, that's the one thing I love about doing this podcast with little folks. We're not going to always be. It's not always about a win or a loss. We've picked our team to lose, and at times we've been right, and at sometimes we've been wrong. So Mark from Buffalo says this is the least confident y'all been on here. I think it's a combination of the team we're playing too. I think Seattle's a very good football team. I think
Yeah.
This is a tough place to win. And again, it's that McDermott midseason blues. Like we've seen it before with this team over the last several years. We got to get over that. This is the kind of game I want to see them grind out and win, just like we said. That kind of score. I'd be thrilled to see that kind of win. Tyler Bass game winner at the end. McDermott makes solid calls at the end of the game. No mishaps. No ridiculous play calls. So Zach McDermott hitting us with some numbers here, Whittle.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Listen, and
thank you,
that's
Zach.
another thing, man. They play zone 6, 7% of the time, so they're gonna trust their guys to get after the quarterback. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
man, they have some guys, man. Like that kid out of Auburn, Derek Hall. He's a little undersized, shorter arms, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a very very good pass rusher. He's got a lot of juice. Um, And boy, Mafe coming off the bench as well. Like he's another guy that gets after the quarterback. Byron Murphy is another guy. Leonard Williams. I mean, like this offensive line is going to have its hands full. And again, no DK Metcalf. Okay, Tyler Lockett, JSN, uh, um, Noah Fant at tight end. Like, I mean, they're going to be able to move the football. We just got to be honest. I'm hoping I'm hoping that it's Geno Smith and we're able to just get after the quarterback and cause some issues with with the quarterback being able
Mm-hmm.
to cause some issues with the quarterback and the quarterback being able to get out there and make things happen. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for this week, I hope I'm right and I hope you're wrong. I've been wrong a lot lately, so we need some good mojo this week for this game on Sunday. So but the good news is, I mean, if you're just thinking in terms of division, we have a major buffer right now. So but in terms of home field and whatnot, we got to keep the pressure on. We got to stack these next games, especially the next three before we go into our showdown with the Chiefs, which could turn the whole season around if we won that game. But we got a month
Right.
to worry about that. So
And listen. I reserve the right to change my opinion based
yep.
on like if we look at our injury report, um, Terrell Bernard, like what's the status on his injury? That matters,
Oh yeah.
because Seattle can throw the football everywhere. Well, that they're going to attack everywhere, and they got a lot of weapons to be able to do it. And Geno Smith is not shy about taking his shot. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
man, I'm we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what
Yep.
happens.
We need that pass rush to be as effective as they were last week. That's going to be
Yep.
very important as well. If we could get the Geno, get him off his spots, make him uncomfortable, and again, hopefully force him to make a couple mistakes, which I do think we could do. But that's if we don't, then we may be in for a long afternoon in Seattle. That's for sure.
Absolutely. 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 Um, any other news or what else we got? Central trades, anything else we want to get into?
Anything else on your mind from this week that may have happened in the sports world
Man,
besides
I
Yankees
don't want to do
Dodgers,
this to
which
you, man.
it's all
Yeah,
right.
shout out
Well,
to the Yankees, man. The Yankees
yeah,
getting back to the World Series. It's been a very long time.
yeah,
Yeah, I used to be a huge, huge baseball fan. Yankees all day, of course. But
same.
over the years, I've kind of fallen by the wayside a bit and allowed the Bills to kind of steal my heart away from the Yankees. Um,
It's
but
hard to keep up
listen,
with so
man.
much. It is so. That's a
Yeah,
true
like
coast
this
to coast
year.
World Series, Whittle. That's a true coast to coast
Yeah,
World Series right there,
yeah.
man.
Dodgers versus the Yankees. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
But this could be a very good year for my football teams. Yankees in the World Series. The Celtics won the championship. They're defending their championship now. They start out the season 1-0.
Yeah. I don't know who
After
they
an
beat. I
entire
forget. Yeah.
yeah after an entire offseason of everybody propping these Knickerbockers up to be
Here
a
we go.
formidable challenge to the Buffalo Bills. They come into the garden
Listen,
to the real.
you
They
got.
come into the real garden, and
Are
get
you
blown
guys
out by
still?
29.
Are you still hitting 3 pointers? I mean, they just couldn't miss. It was
Yeah,
unbelievable. This team's
yeah,
not gonna miss a shot. It was unreal. So yeah,
yeah. That
they
was
were cooking.
different.
I gotta say they came out cooking. They came out smoking. So kudos for now. We'll regroup. We'll see you again next time. That's all I'm gonna say. So, but yeah, the Knicks got humbled last night. So there's no question about it. But basketball's back.
Absolutely.
College football's well. This is a great time of year, isn't it? It's like there's
Yeah.
constant, always something to watch this time of year. I love it. So one of my favorite times. So, but anyway, so we got the big game this Sunday against Seattle. Hear what Tom Brady has to say. Maybe analyze him a little bit on his play. I really haven't listened to him much this year, to be truthful. So I'm kind of sort of looking forward to that. So that is the national game of the week. So Josh loves those national games, so that's something else I'm banking on as well. So we'll have to
Yep.
see how it goes this Sunday. But Whittle, that's all I
Yes,
have
sir.
for this week.
That's it.
So we could put a
All right,
bow
man.
on our 62nd podcast, and we look forward to number 63 next week. Next week we do have a game with the Dolphins coming in. Will it be Tua or not? One thing I like those tweets where they said, could the Bills do the Hawk Tua the next 2 weeks? But anyway, so there's your bad joke
No,
of the day.
that's actually pretty
Uh,
clever. That's
yeah, I
actually
saw
pretty
that. I said
clever.
that's good. I
Seahawks and
can't
then
take any
Tua.
credit
Yeah,
for it.
that's pretty.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
take
that's
any
pretty
credit
clever.
for it, but it was pretty great. So
That
let's
was a
hope
good one.
let's get the
That was
first
definitely a good one.
let's get that first part down. Let's win up in the Northwest. So
Real quick, all right, but before we go, I just
Mhm.
want to say I really want to give a lot of credit to the uh to the organization. Not just the Buffalo Bills and the players, but to Brandon Beane and to Sean McDermott. Um, obviously as well as the to Joe Brady and uh and um Bobby Babbage.
Mhm.
I want to give those guys a ton of credit. Um, the Buffalo Bills uh right now are enjoying a 3.5 game lead in the division after an entire offseason of being told that the Super Bowl window was closed and it was time to start rebuilding and getting a roster together for a second um for the second window of Josh's career. And you know what? Sean McDermott has not been perfect by any
No.
means. He has made some mistakes. Um, he strikes me as a uh, man of a certain standard, but
Mhm.
also a bit quirky. Somebody
Yeah.
that maybe interpersonal relationships with. I don't know if he's necessarily can relate to everybody. He's kind of one of those take me as I am type guys. So,
Yeah.
which is nothing wrong with it all. Um, but I feel like McDermott gets all the blame that he deserves, and maybe not even all the blame he deserves. He gets all the blame. Period. Some deserve it. Some of it is deserving. Some of it isn't. And
Mhm.
the praise for when he makes great moves or makes good decisions. You don't get that. right? Like it's oh my God, I can't believe he used a timeout here. But then when a guy like DeMar Hamlin gets an interception off of a tip pass from Christian Benford, who was drafted in the sixth round out of Villanova, who we know athletically ran like a 4.5 and some change. You know, he's 6'1", 200 pounds, and not, he's got great instincts, but not necessarily, your prototypical defensive back athlete. The fact that we get guys like that to play at a high level,
Hmm.
you gotta give McDermott that credit. Somebody posted a tweet about about DeMar Hamlin having the same amount of career interceptions as Sauce Gardner. Now, on the face of it, it's a
Hmm.
it's a whatever stat, but DeMar Hamlin was dead on the field in 2022 against Cincinnati, and he's starting safety for the Buffalo Bills at 5-2. Has two leads the team in interceptions, has not cost us a game at all. He's played well, had a
Hmm.
couple of touchdown saving tackles. Like
Yep.
like this guy has been he
He's
has
been
been
excellent.
solid. We got to be
Yeah.
honest, and that credit needs to go to Sean McDermott
Yep.
because if it were not for him, we would not be getting this type of value from that position. Taylor Rapp is a guy that the Rams threw away, and now he's over here, playing out of his mind. You know
Hmm. Yep. You're right.
why? You know, Taron
Yep.
Johnson, fourth round pick out of what was it, Weber State or something
Yeah.
weird like that. Like, I mean, come on, you
Hmm.
got this guy, Taron Johnson. Where'd he go to school? Let's see.
I forget. I don't know why I keep thinking Pitt, but that's rap. I mean, not
He
rap.
definitely ain't
That's
going.
Hamlin.
Weber State. Weber State. I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah.
Weber
Good call.
State.
Good job, Whittle. Yeah.
Fourth round pick, man. Fourth round
Hmm.
pick.
Amazing.
Who's getting where are you getting that type of value? Those guys just don't like guys like that don't come to the league
Hmm.
ready to play all the time. He was an all pro last year. Like, I mean, we
Yep.
gotta give the coaching some credit.
Yep. Weber State in
Did,
Ogden, Utah. He's right. I mean, not a household
yeah,
name in college athletics. No offense to him, but yeah, not a place that you would think would be producing a player like Taron Johnson.
right. Right.
Hmm.
So I just think, when we have games where the team starts off slow, and really it's the offense, not the defense. The defense played well all game, like
Hmm.
pretty much all season. The defense has played well outside of that one game against the Ravens where they couldn't stop the run. Um, the defense has played well, and McDermott just doesn't get a lot of credit for that. We just, so my only thing before we get out of here is, you know, it's okay to criticize the coaches. It's okay to criticize
Hmm.
the GM because nobody's perfect. They're gonna make mistakes, but as loud as you are with the criticism, make sure you're as loud with the praise when they deserve it.
Yes.
And if you
Yep.
can't do that, if you can't do that, then your criticism falls on deaf ears, man. It
Hmm.
should fall on deaf ears. I don't agree with everything that they do, but one thing you can't disagree with are the results. The results are what they are. This is not, and I mean, you look at a team like the Jets. Look at a team like the Jets with Leonard with high draft picks and talent everywhere,
Hmm.
and they can't get out of their own way.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. Like we could it be better? Yes, absolutely. I'm sure that there's another coach that would not make the mistakes that McDermott has made. But is he? But what does the defense suffer? How
Hmm.
much does the defense fall off if we do
Yep.
that?
Yep.
If we don't have McDermott.
And McDermott needs to
Um,
get credit for wins that we win big, like last Sunday. Not we make it look easy. We've made it look easy since 2020. That's not if it was that easy, everybody would do it. But that is not the
exactly,
case. That's something that
exactly.
isn't also
Now,
talked about.
I will say this. I will say this. We gotta start beat. We got when we play good teams. We play teams that people. The consensus is they're a good football team. We have to beat them, and we have the opportunity. Seattle's a good team. I think Seattle's a good team.
Agree.
Then we have Kansas City, was another good team. Uh, I don't want to look over Indianapolis because I think they're a good team as well. I think they're second in their division and in line to make the playoffs right now. So Indianapolis is a good team. But the upper echelon of teams, San Francisco, we got them after the bye week. The Kansas City Chiefs, we got them in week 12. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is it week 12? Yeah, I think it's week 12. Then
Yes.
we have the Detroit Lions, I believe, in week 15.
15, I think it's
Yeah.
15 because
Or
we
is it
finish
14?
with no, we have Kansas City at home,
15.
San Francisco at home, then we're
Yeah.
at the Rams, and then we're at the
Hmm.
Lions, and then we
Yeah.
finish with
Yeah. Okay, so that's week
New England
15.
at home,
14.
Jets at home, and then at New England. Yeah. So yeah, that's correct.
Right. So all right, so then it's 14. Week 14, we got the
Hmm.
or it's week 15, but it's our 14th game.
Correct. Yep. Yep. We have our bye
Okay, so yeah.
week. We
Yeah.
have our bye week
Week
right.
12, I think.
Yes, after between Kansas City and San Francisco.
Yeah. So yeah, man, beat the Chiefs after the bye week. We're undefeated. So I'm expecting a win against the 49ers, aka the 40-winers. I call them. My lady's a 49ers fan, so I call them the
Oh,
40-winers.
it should be
Yeah.
an interesting day in the Whittle household right there, right? That game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
so we'll beat those teams. If you can go to Detroit and get a win, that's a game I want to see. That is
Hmm.
going to be must see TV. That game against Detroit, that's going to be
Yeah.
an excellent game to
Yep.
be at in Detroit. That's going to be nice.
Oh
So
yeah.
win those games and you really solidify yourself as an
Hmm.
upper echelon team, man.
100%.
We should give you a
Yeah.
nice little bump going into the playoffs.
Games like today could decide between 2 and 3 seeds, between 3 and 4 seeds, right? We like if we lose, I think the 1 seed is going to be very, very difficult for us to get. I mean, right up the.
Right.
This is just that kind of game we just can't lose. Like you gotta, even though it's an out of conference game, it doesn't help you in that respect. It's just again Miami at home, even with Tua, can't imagine he's gonna be sharp, right? I mean, always division games are always tough, but Miami's depleted in certain areas. But we're not going to go down that road. But those next 2 games after that, the way Richardson's playing right now, we should be able to handle it. We should be fine. So,
Yeah. And
you
there's
know,
no reason, there's no way we should ever lose to Miami at home. I'm
yep, I
sorry.
agree with Jan Sports on this. I mean, and that 1 seed is so important too because it would allow. Imagine Kansas City playing Baltimore in the second round, and we're playing against a maybe an upstart 6 seed. Who knows who that is, right? Let's
You
say
might
the
be playing the
Chargers.
Texans.
Yeah, like the Chargers. Let's say the Chargers somehow make the playoffs, right? And they pull off an
Right.
upset, and we're a 1 seed, and we're getting them home in the second round instead of Kansas City or Baltimore. Let them fight it out. Not we can't go through both of them is going to be a tall order. So, and I mean,
If I
we could
had
get.
my way, if I had my way, I'll have the Steelers win the North
Mhm.
so we can play the Ravens in the first round,
Oh, you want them right away.
play the Texans in the second round, and then play Kansas City
Hmm.
in the AFC Championship
Yeah.
game,
Well, I
and
got to
then
make
play Detroit in the Super Bowl.
these Raven fans. I'll tell you, I got to make one comment I saw in a tweet today. This Raven fan, I guess a Bills fan was talking about something about the Ravens. Is look at this Bills fan trying to sit at our table. Wait, they beat us one time, and now they're saying we can't sit at their table. What is no? We're sitting at their
They're
table and then some.
crazy. Yeah, the Raven fans. I mean, they have You know what? You know what's funny? I'm glad you brought them up. Um, so earlier this year, right, there were Chief fans accusing the Bills of peaking too soon.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's the Ravens, actually.
could
I
be.
feel
Yeah.
like what's 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 the counterpunch to what the Ravens are doing right now?
Hmm.
Eventually,
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna face somebody that's gonna
Hmm.
have a way to stop what they're doing. And
Hmm.
once they do, everybody else is going to religiously study that film and give you the
Hmm.
same looks
Yep.
to
That's
take
what.
away what you want to do. What's your
Yep.
counterpunch?
Yep. Hmm.
Because in the playoffs, you gotta sit back there and you gotta play quarterback. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
but yeah, that's all I got.
That's all I got too. But
All right.
again, thank you to everyone in our group chat as always. You guys are awesome. And Whittle, thanks to you as always. It's a pleasure. And let's hope you're wrong this week. So that's all I can say about it. And
Yeah.
but like I said,
Well,
usually I am, but let's flip that script and
yeah, but I mean, things could be worse. I mean, you could be June, right? You could be June, who's a Jet fan,
yeah.
a Knicks fan, and well, I mean, he's doing all right with the Yankees. So,
Yeah, he's okay. At
but
least he's not well, Petey's got the Jets and the Mets, so that's a little tough for
oh
him right now. So
yeah,
yeah.
Jets, Mets.
Yeah.
I think he's a Knicks fan too. So
He is,
yeah,
yes, yeah. He is.
yikes,
Hey, listen, we'll be back
yikes,
with him.
rough, rough,
Don't you
rough,
worry.
rough couple
Thank
of
you.
weeks for him,
Thank you,
man.
Vince. Yes, it has been. It has been.
Appreciate it, Jared. Thank you, man. Appreciate
But
it
you know,
always.
the one thing about the Jets, even Petey is that was even when I saw him down pretty hard this week, I said, "Wow, that it." Usually Petey's very optimistic, right? And I applaud him for that, especially with with that side. Petey's an upward Petey, but
I
even
told
what,
you. I told you though. I told
yeah,
you. I
you
said
did,
if we beat them, that's gonna they're gonna be down bad if we beat them.
yep.
But if they lose to the Steelers, that's gonna completely break them. And it
Oh
did.
yeah, they're there.
Completely
Yep,
broke them.
they're there.
Completely broke them.
So, but we just got to worry about what we're doing. So I'm focused on Seattle, 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 and we'll go from there.
That's
And
it.
and I hope again want to thank everybody for tuning in yet again. So it's always fun doing this every week. Well, again next week we'll recap Seattle. We'll talk about our division rival Dolphins next week as they come to Highmark.
Yep.
And we'll reconvene then, and hopefully have some good news to talk about from this past weekend.
For sure. Once again, thank you guys for checking in coast to coast. We'll see you guys again next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m.
Yep,
Around 9. Around 9.
around 9. Yeah, we're actually on time
Yeah.
today, so because I was actually on time for
Yep.
once, so that was good.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting better, man. We're getting better. All
Yeah,
right. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Appreciate y'all.
go
Uh,
Bills,
have a great week and go Bills.
go Bills.